Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to World of Tanks 2020. And it's crazy to think this is the first true Christmas tank we've had. Out of all of the Christmas events that we've had, this is the first time we've actually had a dedicated Christmas tank. Of course, every Halloween we have a Halloween-themed tank, or at least something out of the ordinary. But for Christmas, this is the first proper Christmas tank we've had. And so, of course, what they do is they've given us a Tier 6 tank. It's an Easy 8 again. This is the third Easy 8 now in the game. You've got the Tech Tree one, you've got this one, and you've got the Fury, which is what we're going to be comparing this to. So, you can pretty much guess all the stats by yourself. This thing is just a Sherman. There we go. So yeah, this thing is just a Sherman. It's pretty much the same old Easy 8 everyone knows. So, starting from the top, 1039 HP, 76 frontal turret, 51 side and rear, 63 frontal hull, 38 side and rear. Yeah, normal Easy 8 stuff. Compared to the Fury, Fury has got exactly the same stats, exactly the same view range as well, so that's all pretty much the same with it. I mean, what more do you want me to say really about how to drive this tank? You drive it like you do a regular old Sherman at this tier. The armour can bounce a couple of shots, but you're not going to bounce a whole lot of them. I don't think this wood panelling actually counts as spaced armour or extra armour either. I think this is just a decoration, if I'm perfectly honest. So that's not really going to help you much with that. Yeah, you can't really side scrape in it. The turret can bounce shots if you're lucky off the sides because it's sloped, or you can bounce shots off the front because it is once again sloped. But you're a typical American medium tank at this tier. Medium tanks at this tier in general, you don't bounce shots really. None of them have got particularly well done armour, apart from perhaps the T-34s, because of their sloped armours. You can sort of occasionally bounce shots off of them all round. But this thing, yeah, you bounce the occasional shot off the front of the side of your turret, but otherwise, yeah, not much more. For that, mobility, 31 kilometers per hour average speed, with a 15.5 power to weight ratio, 40.6 degrees per second turret traverse, and a 48.19 degrees per second hull traverse, with a 546 horsepower engine. Compared to the Fury, if we have a look at the Fury here, Fury gets slightly better power to weight, slightly better average speed, slightly better hull traverse, but for a slightly worse turret traverse. But I think, do I have engine power boost on both of these things? Yes, I do. I have engine power. So Fury does have slightly more engine power in terms of mobility. Gets that slight extra. It gets slight better power to weight, not by a lot, but by about half a horsepower per ton. Slightly better average speed, and yeah, it does get the better hull traverse. I believe, at least. I think that's different. Here we go. Yeah, so slightly better hull traverse, I think, but turret traverse slightly worse. They do have pretty much the same engine power as well. They probably have the same engine, if I'm perfectly honest. This one's got a Christmas Spirit engine because they've named it differently, but it's, for all intents and purposes, probably going to be exactly the same as the Furies. Has a Santa's sleigh suspension. What does it have? It has a Rudolph turret and it has a shiny nosed gun. Talking of the gun, let's move on to that now. Mobility wise, this thing is pretty much a Sherman. It's not the best, not the worst. You can get around decently fast. Not much really to say about that compared to something like Loza's Sherman. Yeah, compared to Loza's Sherman, it's better. It's better mobility wise. Slightly different in terms of armor wise as well, but obviously we're comparing this mostly to the Fury because that's what it is. It is an Easy 8, same as the Fury. What have I got on here? A refined gun, of course. Yeah, so moving on to the gun. let's have a look at that now. If I put on refined gun, there we go. So the gun itself, decent enough, nearly 1900 DPM, just over 5-second reload time, 128 average pen, pretty standard for a American 76 at this tier, 177 APCR pen, 38 HG, 160 average damage with AP, 135 APCR, 200 HG, 3.5 second aim time, pretty good dispersion with the improved gun dispersion, 0.33, very accurate, 12 degrees of gun depression though, that's very useful as well. Compared to the Fury, I see that the Fury has better DPM, yeah, Fury has better DPM and better reload speed, same average pen, same average damage, slightly better aim time, slightly worse gun dispersion, and 12 degrees of gun depression, again, the same. So what you're getting with the Fury is you are getting better DPM for a start, you're getting about 1 extra shot per minute, as opposed to the Rudolph. Slightly worse gun dispersion, but slightly better aim time. So the guns are pretty much identical, but I think probably the DPM for the Fury is better than the Rudolph. There you go. If you were to get either one for some reason, if both of these came into the shop at the same time, or you only had enough money for one, if this thing was to ever be sold again, which it might, I don't know. But compared to the Fury, the Fury's probably edging it over this thing. As minor as the differences are, the Fury does have slightly better stats generally than this thing. It's got the same armor profile, it's got slightly better mobility, it's got slightly better gun, but even so, this thing is still a decent tank. It's got the usual American armor. The gun itself is pretty decent, even though it does lack penetration compared to a lot of the other mediums at this tier. Then that is the same with the stock Easy 8 as well. The Tech Tree Easy 8 is also the same. But overall, it's a Christmas tank. You can get it for free with the Christmas pass. I mean, not much you can really say to do with that. I don't know if they're going to be giving out a free tank either this year. We'll have to wait and see about that. As for consumables, got your standard repair, first aid, fire. You have also got the engine power boost for 20% engine power for 15 seconds. You've got your adrenaline for 20% load speed and 10% chance of damaging enemy vehicle modules for 15 seconds. Then you've got your multi-purpose, which is these three rolled into one. This has a different changed layout, I swear. That didn't used to look like that. As for provisions, this is under the American Tech Tree, so of course you've got the bottle of cola and crate of cola for 3 and 10% respectively to cream mastery. You've got your standard and improved fuel for 3 and 10% respectively to engine power and turret traverse, and then you've got your protective kit, which is all that rolled into one. You can go ahead and mount them as you want. This is of course a premium tank. You're going to be making money off it anyway. It's tier 6 as well. Tier 6 generally you struggle to lose cash at tier 6 unless you're only firing APCR or something, or only firing premium. That's pretty much the only way at tier 6 you lose cash. So you can go ahead, wax them on, and you'll probably not make a loss whilst driving this tank. As for ammo, 71 rounds, that's decent. You're never going to use up all those rounds in a battle, so go ahead and mix and match those as you want. As for equipment, gun rammer gets your DPM up, just compared to a couple of other mediums here. I'm not going to compare it to the Cromwell because I'm sure the Cromwell will probably have better DPM. It does have better DPM than the Sentinel. It doesn't have better DPM than the... It doesn't have better DPM than the Panzer. Probably better than the 3485. Yeah, better than the 3485. What other mediums have I got? The Sturv. It's probably going to be better than this thing. Oh no, Sturv has got slightly better DPM than the Rudolph. Interesting. What about... Probably not many people have it, but let me compare it just to the VK finally. 1749, so yeah, it does have pretty decent DPM either way. So gun rammer, you can go ahead, whack on. If you wanted better pen, it goes up to 134 with calibrated, but even so, I think having a nice gun rammer is always nice. Always nice to have. Gets you up above 1700 DPM. It's always always a bonus. Then improved modules for the extra track durability. I mean, what's the other one? That's crew, I think it is. Where is it? Yeah, decreases chance of crew injury. But I think just the extra track durability means I always go with improved modules. And then you are a medium tank. Coated optics, you're going to want that for the extra view range. I mean, you could be a sniper, but you're a medium tank. It's a tier 6. Tier 6 is where medium tanks sort of sit around, do their medium tank stuff. So they don't, they don't sit around being snipers. So coated optics for the extra view range. Enhanced gun lane drive for the extra aim time. Might as well. You might want to go with supercharge, but medium tanks, they tend to get pretty close to the action anyway, dodging in and out, doing their whole wolf pack thing, so enhanced gun lane drive is always useful. Improved assembly for the extra HP. Like I said, your armour is nothing like a heavy tank or nothing like any of the better armoured mediums at this tier either. Not that there are many good armoured mediums at this tier, but even so, it's not worthwhile taking the enhanced armour. You might as well go with the extra HP for the improved assembly. If you took that off, then you'd get about, 980 HP, which is still decent HP. But even so, it gets you over 1,000 with improved assembly. Engine accelerator for the extra power to weight, definitely. Plus you get your buff to the hull traverse anyway, plus your slightly better average speed as well. So want to go with that. You can either go with refined gun or vert stabs. Vert stabs is always a nice idea because again, this is medium tank tier. You are a medium tank. You go around circling heavies, firing on the move at things, doing the whole medium tank stuff. So vert stabs is always useful, or you can go with refined gun, get you down to 0.33 accuracy, so that you can quickly stop, snap off a shot, have it hit, and then drive away again, or just fire from cover. Either way, refined gun is always useful, and then either of them. Probably going to want to go with maybe hacks. I'm not really too sure that if it gets off and can't use or pack it or have that on. So toolbox is then more useful. Personal choice, and then those two things. So, the Chris tank. It's all right. It's nothing. It's nothing out of the ordinary stats wise. Out of the ordinary, definitely in looks. It looks very nice. It's got the whole sleigh aesthetic on the side and rear. It has the antlers and it has the red nose on the gun, which is all very nice. Plus it's got some sort of like Christmas jumper patterning over it, which is very nice. However, if you were debating on whether to, say for example this thing came into the shop and you were debating whether to get this or the Fury, Fury is technically the better tank if these things were the same price. As to whether or not they'll ever come into the shop and be anywhere close to each other in the price range, I don't know. But if you can get it, then, and you like the Easy 8, you'll like this. But if you can get the Fury instead, the Fury is probably the slightly better tank. But even so, it's still a decent medium tank. It can do well in the hands of medium tank drivers. Yeah, just overall decent enough tank. I'll thank you all for watching, and goodbye.